Hilton brings you new ways to stay. With experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Uh-oh. The last cookie.
You can get a new box of cookies in as fast as an hour with Walmart Express Delivery.
Are you my guilty self-conscience?
No, I'm the voice offering you promo code EXPRESS for free delivery on your first order.
Hey, who ate my cookies?
You mean, these cookies?
Order now. Welcome to your Walmart. Promotion valid for first express delivery order. $50 minimum subject to availability. Restrictions apply.
The Dental Download podcast is your source for insight from conversations with fellow dentists, specialists, and leaders in the industry. With new episodes every Monday morning, I'm your host, Dr. Haley. Let's get into this week's episode. Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome back to another episode of the Dental Download podcast. We are doing a solo episode today, and I've gotten a bit away from that format that I said I would do for solo episodes of a life update, a recommendation of the week, something that's motivating me this week, and something that I learned this week. So we're going to bring that back, circling back, because I think it's a fun way to make sure I'm giving you all different little tidbits of types of content and parts of life, because it's not all work over here. We all know that. If you're new listening somehow, clicking on this episode, I'm Haley. I'm a general dentist working in Southwest Michigan, just about a year out of school at this point. I absolutely love my job and I'm super grateful to be there, but there's still all kinds of highs and lows that come with general life, regardless of how much you love your job. So over here, we kind of talk through life as a new dentist. I bring on guests that are at all different stages of their dental journey or have different ties to the dental industry, even if they themselves are not a dentist. And I also talk about advice for people pursuing dentistry, whether that be people that are still pre-dental, people that are in dental school. And it's just a good time. I would say we're overall a community of supportive people that are looking to be our best selves, continue to grow and improve, and find fulfillment and happiness through life where we work as dentists, but also have all of our other passions. So that's our little spark notes of what we do over here at the Dental Download podcast. But we're going to start with a life update. And if you saw the title, my kind of recent struggle that I've been working through, I feel as though I've almost crossed the top of the mountain, if you will, of working my way through, like, why do I feel off? What exactly feels off? How can I try to fix it? Because I don't want to be feeling unpleasant, you know? So I feel like we're kind of almost done working through that. So that's why I felt okay to talk about it this episode. And we're going to even talk about it in the intro, because it's going to be the thing I learned this week, just as a little foreshadowing to get you excited about if you clicked on the title because you want some drama. It's not drama, but like I said, nothing is always perfect because life's not perfect, but we can sure still enjoy it. So life updates, very, very exciting. If you've listened to other episodes or seen any of my posts, that we are building a house over here, my fiance and I, and we just closed on our house about a week and a half ago, and they did start working this past week. So the lot's cleared, and soon enough they're going to start excavation and putting in the foundation for the basement, all that jazz. So that is very, very exciting, kind of a culmination of many, many months. If you have been listening from the beginning, we started inquiring about building versus buying and different loan options back in the late summer. And then we committed to this lot and this builder in the fall. And then all of November, December, January, we were working to finalize the floor plan. And then the builder was getting quotes for all the elements that it takes to build a house, to put together the final budget for the bank, and then also make sure that we were good with the different specifications that the house would have for
quality of different products and things like that. So that took several months, especially with the holidays thrown in there. And then we finally submitted for the actual approval from the bank at the end of February, and they approved us in mid-April. So long process to just even get started, but now we're started, and I'll definitely be letting you all know any of the trials and tribulations as well as the exciting points that come with getting to build a house. I don't exactly know when it's going to be done. That's kind of the first question people ask. I would think 8 to 10 months, maybe quicker, hopefully not a full year, but if it is, it's okay because we have this rental pretty much that whole time, so I'm not too worried about it. And I also joined a book club in my neighborhood with some ladies in my neighborhood, which has been fun. It's just for fiction books, and it's been nice to get to meet some more people over here. And Justin and I joined our local golf club, so we're members there. He's in a league, and then we're also doing a couples league that's a little more low-key that we can just go to on the Fridays that we want, but then his is more of a competitive every single week. So it's nice as well because I feel like we're finally, after being here almost a year, getting involved in some more things in the community and meeting people that live here, since we're about 2.5 hours from where we both grew up, and he got a new job to move out here and I have my new job. I obviously know all my coworkers, but we all wanted to make friends outside of work as well. So we're finally starting to do that, which is pretty cool. And that's kind of the big life updates. I would say that's plenty of updates if you ask me. Oh, my sister gets married next weekend too. I've talked about that a bunch of times, that her wedding's happening, and then months later my wedding's happening. Big year 2025 for our family. So that's coming up too. So that's been keeping me busy, and a reason I haven't been as active on Instagram and YouTube, because we've just been doing a lot of getting ready for her wedding. So my recommendation of the week is related to the book club that I'm in. It's an author, a fiction author, Abby Jimenez. She is so funny. It feels like you're watching a really amazing romantic comedy or TV show like How I Met Your Mother or something like that. It's so witty and funny and just such great character development. So I would recommend checking out any of her books. I've read one so far, and then I have one queued up on my Kindle, which is the sequel to the one that I already read. But then we're reading a different one by her for book club. So I'm going to read that one first and then eventually read the sequel to the one that I read in the first place. So soon enough, I'll have read 3 of her books. But I would highly recommend that if you're into fiction. It's super cute and lighthearted, but also, it's sad at times, it's happy at times, it's funny at times. I'll be reading it and audibly laughing, and my fiance Justin's like, "What are you doing in there?" And I'm like, "This book is hilarious." So I recommend checking it out. My motivator this week, probably depending where you live in the country, you're relating to this too, but the warm weather has been absolutely motivating me, and the fact that it's brighter for longer, brighter earlier in the morning, the longer days, it's just the best. So we're able to go for walks in the evening after dinner, Justin and I. It's so nice. It really helps us kind of debrief on our day, talk about life, allows us to connect and still be active and getting fresh air. It's like a win-win-win-win. So it's motivating on so many levels. And now we're going to get into the little teaser from the title, something I learned this week. So I would say the past month and a half, something has been feeling a little bit off for me. I was riding many months. Like I said, I've been working since last June. So 10 months, let's say, of a high of just I feel like I'm doing really great at work. I'm in my groove. Everything's awesome. Personal life's awesome. Just felt like I was thriving. And then for some reason, I think I got a little bit too bogged down and consumed by the numbers at work. And I'm not even performing worse. I'm just performing the same for so many months now. And I was getting annoyed by that. And I was like, when am I going to see a jump? When am I going to see an improvement? I was really just itching for more growth quicker. I wanted it right now. I wanted it faster. I was not feeling patient. I was not reframing my mind to just be grateful for what I do have and the fact that I'm at a point that many dentists aren't at for a couple years out of school. I was looking at it from a lens of, well, it's still not good enough and my situation's different. I still want more. I still want to be better. I still want to reach the goals that I had. And I was just getting impatient to get to those goals. And I'm not at those goals yet. I'm not here to sit and say, well, I just kept waiting and now I'm there, because I'm not yet. This is me actively still in the pace at work where I'm not at my big lofty goals that I've talked about at the beginning of the year. And that's okay. But what has allowed me to reframe my mindset and get out of that kind of negative headspace? It's not that I felt like I was working any different when I was in the office because of that. It was more internal stuff and stuff I would kind of bring home and just like vent about to Justin, and just overall like looking at how a month went or reflecting on things. And instead of feeling happy and grateful and proud of myself, I just noticed it was more negative emotions, and I didn't like that. I like to think I'm someone that's very self-aware and I can catch these things quickly, which I think I have, and I catch it when it's starting to happen so it doesn't become this giant problem months later and I'm in a really dark or negative, angry place. It didn't get to that point because I do check in with myself really regularly, but I just knew something was off, but I couldn't quite figure out what to do about it. I think part of it was starting to come the self-imposed feelings because I knew I was approaching that 1 year mark. And I don't know what I did or didn't expect, but apparently internally, subconscious, I maybe expected something different. And so I'm disappointed in myself. I don't know. I really don't know exactly why all of these feelings, like I said, of impatience, lacking a lot of gratitude, maybe disappointment in myself. I don't know. I think it's some comparison too with the other doctors at my office who are many, many more years experience than myself, expecting to be living and having the same experience as they are, which is just not realistic. I'm 1 year out, not 12. So it's understandable that, you have to work your way up a little bit. And like any industry, that's normal when you're just starting out. But I think I was getting a little impatient, maybe dealing with some comparison. So that was all different for me. I'm usually not that type of person, and I don't think anything's changed in the environment at work that is making me feel that way. I think it truly all is self-imposed, and I think it's because I was feeling a little disappointed in myself approaching the 1 year mark. And it sounds even silly saying it because I know I've accomplished a lot and I know that I've had a really great year, but it just didn't feel like it. That's the easiest way to describe it. Whatever words I could say or someone else could tell me, it just didn't connect into my brain and make me feel better. I'm sure you all can relate to that, to something in your own life. Probably not specifically this exact situation, but I'm sure you've had things where it doesn't really matter what people say or what you try to tell yourself. It's just like not fixing the kind of feelings you're having. But the reason I'm talking about it is because something did help, you guys. Something helped. So that's why I feel like sharing it is going to help you as well. So what helped? There was 2 or 3 different things. I think 3 different things. I'll start with one because obviously I've been kind of dancing around the subject that a lot of my goals and the ways you kind of track things as a dentist is maybe treatment plan acceptance, new patient numbers, and production collections. Maybe those are some of the benchmarks. And I don't really do most of our new patients, so take that one off the table. My treatment plan acceptance has been, I think, relatively high and consistent like the whole time. So that's not really changing. But my production collections also, again, has been relatively consistent, but it's shy of what I would need in order to be at my goals that I've shared. So a lot of this is dollars and cents, unfortunately, that I'm kind of imposing on myself to worry about a little bit too much, I think. So what helped with that was over the past week or so, I've sat down with Justin because he's my financial partner, and we just kind of went through a little bit of a deep dive looking at some projections. And we've had a lot of expenses lately. And I was just feeling like, man, we're doing really well for ourselves month to month, but it doesn't seem like we're saving enough. And we were looking and we still have a very high saving percentage, almost 40%. But still, I was like, it should be more. It should be more. There should be more left over. But we had a huge tax bill from something. And then I had my nose surgery bill, and we had him booking his bachelor trip, and we bought our wedding bands, and we closed on the loan for this house. Like, so many big expenses, and it just felt like, oh, but we're not saving enough. And I mean, how can you when you have all these big expenses? So I was just feeling a little bit stressed and like, I want to make sure we're keeping our other expenses like within reason. I don't want us to feel restricted. I don't want us to feel guilty about doing things with friends and family, or if we want to buy a new shirt or whatever, or we got our golf membership, we were excited about it, we didn't feel guilty about it. All of that is great. But I wanted to kind of check in at our kind of financial benchmark, like I was saying, of our monthly fixed expenses and typical discretionary spending compared to obviously all these crazy like wedding related, just weddings are so expensive, and the way that we're doing it in the very modern traditional way where it's just very expensive, like all the trips and all the things. So it's just very expensive. But checking in and making sure we're not overspending and making sure we're being mindful of our spending, because one thing I always try to focus on is the fact that we're able to be high earning at such a young age. And also as a Christian, I kind of have a mindset on money, or I try to have, where it's all a blessing and a gift for us to be able to steward the money, and that we need to be very mindful and conscious of what we're doing with it and not use it for things that are maybe not good. So saving, investing for your future family, charity, donation, service, all of that, good. Things that are kind of mindless and wasteful, bad. So we went through and made sure that we were spending aligned with our values, and we determined that we were. So that just gave me a little more peace of mind. In addition, like I said, to seeing that we still have a very high savings percentage. And we went through and did one of those calculators of if we continue saving exactly what we're saving, and a very conservative projection of the market, how much money will we have at age 55? Because I personally want to be able to retire very young. I don't think I will, but I would like to just work because I like it and do whatever types of different projects I want because I want to, not because I have to. So I picked age 55, and we would be at our retirement goals by then. So that was nice to see. And that just made me feel like, all right, I guess it's not as bad as it feels sometimes when you see large amounts of dollars going out. And it's still, I think, that student in you. Like I said, it's only been a year that I've been working, and it's such a big change from I'm a student, I have absolutely no money, to I'm a doctor and I'm making a really good living. It's different than someone that goes out of undergrad and gets a starting role in a company and slowly gets little raises every year. It's a gradual thing. And you're probably like just paying your bills, maybe saving a little, and then over time you can save a little bit more year to year. But in most cases, if you have a good job as a dentist, you just start off with a very high earning role. And it's not to complain. I don't mean it's a bad thing, but it's a lot to mentally manage, in that mental shift of, wow, as I said, we're stewarding a lot more money than I've ever seen in my whole life. Like, it's just kind of mind blowing. So it still takes some time to get used to.
Sergeant and Mr. Smith, you're going to love this house.
Bunk beds in a closet?
There's no field manual for finding the right home. But when you do, USAA Homeowners Insurance can help protect it the right way. Restrictions apply.
I think you're on mute.
Workday starting to sound the same?
I think you're on mute.
Find something that sounds better for your career on LinkedIn. With LinkedIn Job Collections, you can browse curated collections by relevant industries and benefits, like flex PTO or hybrid workplaces, so you can find the right job for you. Get started at linkedin.com/jobs. Finding where you fit. LinkedIn knows how.
Life like that, if that makes any sense. So that's one thing that helped, was just the dollars and cents of it all. But honestly, that wouldn't have made me feel all the way better. What really, really made me feel better, and why I'm leaving it for the end, is because I think it's the juiciest, most important part of all of this, is actually the conference that I just attended, which was Thursday to Saturday, and I'm recording this on Sunday. I was at the Michigan Dental Association annual session, so that's their annual meeting where there's a bunch of CE for all of us dentists, but there's also the House of Delegates meeting where delegates from each district of the state, so think like groupings of like counties representing their area. The delegates are the ones voting on any resolutions, any changes to the bylaws, and the new leadership. And then the leadership are the ones that are going to, throughout multiple years, depending on their term length, make the decisions for the organization, what activities they're having, what they're supporting, how they're interacting with legislator, how they're fundraising, what type of grants they're doing, who's getting the grants, all these different things. So that happens in addition, like I said, to CE and also really great networking events. So attending that conference really reminded me that I have a lot of other passions and purpose outside of my clinical work. As I've said, I have no beef with my job. I still absolutely love my job, but I know that as a person, I thrive the most when I'm in service roles and giving back to something that I'm passionate about. So whether that's helping fellow new dentists by creating a more inclusive, exciting environment within the Michigan Dental Association, or putting on events in my local component, like my local district, or if it's membership, or if it's a service event. I really enjoy that. I think I do a good job at it, and I'm really passionate about it. So leaning into my passions reminded me that that's a big piece of my pie. That's a big piece of my puzzle, that I haven't had a specific role this past year. I've just been a member of the MDA on a state level. I'm a member on the national level of the ADA, and I'm a member of my local component here in Kalamazoo of the local district, as I said. So I'm a member, but not necessarily super involved. And not that I've really even had the time to be super involved, but it was so great to be at this event and connect with more people and get reinvigorated and excited that that is part of my puzzle, as I've said, in my future, whether it's this year or next year or a couple years from now, that there's more than just the work I'm doing in the office. And while I was there, from talking to so many really successful dentists, I also got an idea for a new thing, a new project, a secret project, as people online like to say and kind of tease. A new project I'm working on that will hopefully be released in June. So keep your ears peeled. I'm really excited about the prospect of it, and I think it's going to be really, really great. So keep your eyes peeled, and it's always fun when you get excited about a new project. And I also felt that feeling over this past weekend too. So all those things coming together, I think, just reminded me of the bigger picture and the other parts of life that make life so sweet. And it's not all the dollars and cents of it all, but just saying that even though I knew it didn't get me out of the funk, I had to go and live it. I had to go and lean into those other passions and experience them and connect with people and feed that part of myself to get myself out of the kind of funky feeling. So that's what worked for me. You'll have to take that and spin it your own way, depending if you're going through something. But I think from what I've said, you will know what would work for you. So now, the last bit of this episode, we're going to just do a little recap of the Michigan Dental Association annual session. So for me, I'm in the MDA's LEAD program, which if you're in another state, the ADA is actually having a similar program right now. So if you look up ADA Leadership Program, I believe it should come up from Google from there, but it's a program for third year rising, so during your fourth year dental students, new dentists, and I think any dentist could be involved. But the point is to get you kind of trained and familiarized with levels of ADA leadership and what that could look like for you. So you would attend a few different in-person events as well as monthly Zooms, and you would kind of work with someone on some kind of initiative type project to solve some kind of problem that you see. Like, for example, if you see a shortage of dental hygienists in your state, maybe you would work with someone to try to resolve that or come up with ways to improve it. That's an example. So that's happening at the ADA now, which is very exciting. If that's something that interests you, I would recommend applying. I might apply, I don't know yet. But again, I'm in one for my state right now for a year. And because of that, they had us attend the annual session, which was very, very exciting. I've attended before as a dental student through ASDA, but in this time. I was not a delegate. I was just on the House floor observing because of a privilege from the lead program. And then that was Thursday, was the House of Delegates as well as some CE. I attended throughout the weekend a CE on anterior and posterior crown restorations. I attended one on implants and All on X and different implant products and materials we got to kind of touch and play with, as well as presentations about them. Another presentation on perio, saving teeth, basically. So that was interesting. And then they also had a keynote speaker, Sean Astin, who is like Sam in Lord of the Rings and lots of other roles, talking about mental health and his experience with how mental health affected himself and also his family growing up. I think I'm a little too young to know the backstory that he had famous family members and all of the trials and tribulations that they went through, but I think it resonated even more with the older generation because they lived it and remembered like those media headlines. I knew who Sean Astin was, but I didn't know who his parents were till he started talking about it. Then I was like looking them up and everything. But that was always fun. Usually the keynote speakers at these events are not dentists. They are other people with inspiring stories to tell. But then the actual other CE sessions are more clinical based typically. I also attended a women in dentistry session about inclusivity, and that was really enlightening. And I believe that's all of them, if I'm remembering correctly. But several hours of CE. Oh, and I got my justice and jurisprudence state license CE requirement done. So cross that off the list. One of my favorite things, though, was the evening events, and also, as I mentioned, that women in dentistry event, because in the evening events, you're networking with a lot of different dentists, or at lunch, when you're in there, you can sit down at a table with anyone and just strike up a conversation and get to know them. Dentists all across the state are there, so I was able to meet randomly some people that are from my area, some people that are from my hometown area or other parts of the state. I really particularly enjoy meeting with female dentists who have families and just picking their brain about balancing clinical roles, maybe practice ownership with motherhood and family life. And again, that's always really enlightening and motivating to me personally. I also accepted a role to be a local co-chair of the upcoming Michigan Mission of Mercy in June 2026 because it's going to be in Kalamazoo, which is the area that I live and practice in. So there is already a dentist that's the local co-chair, the local chair, but they decided that they want to bring on one more person to kind of help balance out that workload. And I said, yes. I said, very transparently, I don't have that many connections here yet. I've only been here a year, but the event's not for another year. So I'm sure I'll continue developing connections. And I think I'm going to gain a lot from being in this role through meeting people locally, through meeting other dentists and serving and giving as much as I can and training more to maybe help with events like this in the future. So I was really excited about that. And if you don't know what the Mission of Mercy is, it is a free dental service weekend for anyone to come to, adults, kids. I volunteered as a pre-dental student probably 7 years ago at this point when they had one near Grand Rapids, Michigan. And then every 2 years they have it. It took a hiatus for COVID, as most things did, but they brought it back. And every 2 years they host it in a different part of the state. So it's our little neck of the woods turn to have it hosted here. And they provide, screenings, x-rays, cleanings, extractions, fillings. I think they even maybe do some pros, depending what it is. So, and root canals. So I think that's great. They can offer a lot of definitive treatment. They, if people need it, try to treat multiple teeth. I know last year they did over $1 million of care. They saw almost 700 patients and did almost 7,000 procedures. So each patient, you can imagine, then is getting a lot of procedures done, which is excellent. With other free dental events I've been to, sometimes it's each patient gets one thing. And then you see people who maybe have not had access to care, and most likely they need more than just a one tooth fix. So sometimes that was a little disappointing with other service events I've been to, that we couldn't give more comprehensive treatment. But that's one thing that I really like about the Mission of Mercy. So I will be helping them facilitate that and all of the local organizing, donations, service from dentists, but also non-dentists, all of the kind of infrastructure that it takes to run an event that large, helping get all of that squared away, apparently. I really don't know yet. I just said yes to it. So we're going to see what that ends up involving. But overall, this past weekend, it really reminded me of a deeper purpose behind my education that I now have as a dentist, and reminded me that over time, not only will I be making day-to-day impacts on every patient that I treat in clinical practice, but I can also make a very lasting impact on our state and local community through leadership and service in organized dentistry. So that is what I wanted to share with you all this week. I hope you found it motivating for whatever you're working through in your life. And if you did, be sure to send me a message. I would love to know how this episode resonated with you. And make sure you either go on, whether it's Apple or Spotify where you're listening to this, you can click on the title of the show, Dental Download Podcast, and then at the top, there's a place where you can rate the show. So giving me 5 stars on there is very, very much appreciated because it helps the apps promote it to more people, helps us broaden our community so that we can be that much stronger and keep on growing. So thank you all again for listening, and I will talk to you next Monday.